Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaskara to all of you. The nice Devarnama is Mrs. Suma and others who introduced me. Thanks, Dr. Pai, Venkatesh, and the yoga group in Mysore for tolerating me for the third time, is it? I think it's the third time.
Yeah, it's third time, sir. This is the third time.
Okay. Now, I'm more used to, looking at people and interacting as I'm talking. So if you have any questions, again, my sincere wish is you stop me and ask a question. That's no problem. And I'm going to ask one of my very bright young students, Manasa Rao, Dr. Manasa Rao, to keep your audio on unless you have problem with your 10-year-old boy. Keep it on, and I'll ask you a couple of questions as we go along, or you can tell me how things are happening as I'm proceeding. Okay, Manasa? Are you there?
Yes, sir. Done, sir. Done, sir.
Thank you. Okay, now everybody is very familiar with the word feedback. Every time a lecture is over, I call Venkatesh and give him a feedback about the lecture. Positive things, we need to appreciate and understand. But that's a kind of a colloquial feedback way of telling our response to whatever is happening around us. Is more specific definition of your feedback would comprise of, for example, I'm sure you're seeing I'm talking from Chennai, where the weather, you know what it is, and I have an air conditioner right behind me, keeping my head cool. I'm not working right now, so don't worry. So that's the feedback system. How come it is a feedback system? It maintains a particular temperature within this room. And I can adjust the temperature. If I put it on 25, it will keep around 25 Celsius. What it does is, it looks at the temperature of the room. There is a sensor, and the sensor tells the mother unit, so to say, that it is getting hot, so you have to switch on the air conditioner. Air conditioner comes on, cools the room down from, let's say, 27 to 25, and it will stop. The sensor says, okay, that's enough, stop. So the sensor is a feedback system. The loop, there's a loop there, so to say, that you take a little bit of air, see what temperature it is, and the sensor says, okay, switch on the air conditioner, and the air conditioner starts working. And then after a while, the sensor says, that's enough, stop for a while, it'll stop. So this goes on and on, this loop goes on. So this feedback loop is very important to maintain a temperature. Similarly, there are lots of feedback loops within the body. This is what I gave a gross example of what happens outside. But inside, without the feedback, you see, I'm moving my hand in reasonably controlled way. It is not possible without a feedback. The brain sends signals to my muscles, various muscles in the body, in the shoulder, in the arm, etc. I don't know where my shoulders are. Okay, there it is. And I'm able to maintain any position I want by correcting and getting back to the right level. Okay. I'm reading, somebody sent me some note. Okay. So that is the feedback system goes on in the body all the time. If you want to control a system, you need to have feedback. Repeat, if you want to control anything, like the temperature in the room, or my movement in space, or what I'm writing on the board, on the paper, a controlled movement needs very precise feedback systems working. And that's what's happening in the body. And you will find when the feedback is lost, then people have all kinds of problems, right? They're not able to maintain a given position in space, and they are out of control. Now, there are two ways the feedback happens. This is biofeedback. Whatever happens inside the body, in the biological system, We call it biofeedback. There are two ways of maintaining control within a body. Now, the example I gave about air conditioner, there's only one way of doing it, that is the temperature is seen by a sensor. Here, body is a little bit more complex, right? And we have electrical and biochemical ways of controlling. There are two different ways, two different paths of control. One is electrophysiological, in which the brain, the nervous system, muscles, organs in the body, etc., work. Actually, everything is electrical inside the body. As soon as you touch the skin, there is an electrical activity going on. That is one way. Another way is biochemical. So due to some response inside the body, there is a biochemical response in the body, which, for example, might try to take away pain or modulate something inside the body. Amount of sugar in the blood, all this is controlled through biochemical means. Now, electrophysiological, electrical means much faster naturally and more targeted. So I can precisely see, okay, here, this finger, I'm moving exactly as I want through electrical means. So there is a spinal cord, there's a brain, which has specific areas wherein a thought creates an impulse. Actually, even the thought, you can measure that electrophysiologically. And the brain then starts that impulse, electrical impulse, that goes through the spinal cord. There is a connection there to other peripheral system in the hand, etc. And the hand gets all, wherever you feel, there is a nerve which is responsible for telling you something is touching your hand. So that is a feedback. It gives a feedback. In yoga, that's what we do. Okay. I got it done. So I said, ask question, something is coming up. Okay. In yoga, that's what we do. We intensify and do something to improve these feedback systems so that muscles and the nervous system are working functionally for a long time. Okay, so this is biofeedback. Now, there is an autonomic nervous system in the nervous system which seems to maintain everything in a predetermined, proper fashion. For example, I'm sitting here, I'm talking, you are sitting, listening. We are not running around, we are not going up the stairs, we are not sleeping, hopefully. And my heart rate will be so much. It's more or less constant because I'm not doing any physical activity. When I'm doing physical activity, naturally, I need more blood to my muscles. If I'm walking, I need more blood to my lower limbs. So there'll be more heart rate will go up slightly. If I'm running, it'll go up more. If I'm sleeping, the heart rate will go down. That's why when you have a small child and you take it for a walk outside, especially in the weather of Bangalore, remember the small child is not walking. You are walking, you are putting up heat. So you may feel warm, but the child which is lying there in your perambulator is feeling cold. So you have to wrap it up properly before you go for a walk. So anyway, so then autonomic control. So these autonomic control seems to be out of our control. That's why it is called autonomic, because it is automatic. It goes on automatic. Only breathing is unusual. It is both autonomic, that it goes on automatically when you are sleeping, for example, or you can control it like in a pranayama. Okay, so the breathing, whereas heart rate, my sweating, even my hunger and satiation cycles, all this happens, seems to be automatically happening. Now, I was thinking actually, one hour ago, what a lucky life I've had. I've had some wonderful friends, and I'm going to share their names with you as we go along. And one of them was Dr. Elmer Green in USA, in Topeka, where there's the biggest psychiatric training center in the world called the Menninger Foundation. Menninger Foundation. Dr. Elmer Green and his wife, Alice Green, looked at this And they were not interested in biofeedback at that point. They were coming to India in 1976. They came first time. And we had the pleasure of his presence in my laboratory in IIT. They came with a portable EEG lab, what was available at that time. Remember, in 1976, pretty early in EEG measurements. A portable EEG lab, they brought it along, put it in a truck. They went around from place to place in northern India, especially Banaras and Delhi areas, and looking for yogis who can control they say the yogi can control all kinds of stuff. So they want to study if they are really doing it. The second question will arise, how they are doing it. The first is to study that there is indeed an effect. For example, one yogi said he can stop the heart. One yogi was buried alive under 6 feet of earth and taken out after 3 months. So these things were all heard all over India, but they really wanted to check what exactly is going on, and then probably find if there is a way of explaining this. They can say micropores in the sand, so he was able to be alive, his metabolism was less, his heart rate went down, all kinds of stuff. Nothing very clear outcome anyway. So they came to India in 1976, Dr. Elmer Green. I happen to know him very personally over many, many years. He studied the powers of control of body function. And then he found one. Vibha Sharma, please, either you write in English if you want me to answer. Otherwise, please let us know if you want to ask a question, ask us. So he found one yogi who was very remarkable in this, and it's Swami Rama. And he invited him to come to his lab in Topeka. Swami Rama wired up, and this is reported in his book, Beyond Biofeedback. He wrote a book called Beyond Biofeedback, where he has reported his studies with Swami Rama. And there, Swami Rama said, one day, wire me up, I'm going to stop my heart. However, he said, look, this is not a joke, this is a real serious matter. I have not done my sadhana properly because I'm in this country. I don't have the means of doing whatever I want as part of sadhana. So after 5 minutes, you have to, so to say, wake me up, to take me out of this condition. I'm going to stop the heart. After 5 minutes, you come and disturb me and get me out of this, because I don't want to be going. So, and they wired him up and look at the ECG, EEG, GSR, galvanic skin response, where it tells you how much sweating is going on, how much stress his body might be going through. And they found he didn't quite stop the heart, but at the same time, it went into a flutter. Flutter means it is not pumping. So it goes like this. Like if you get a shock, sometimes you feel that in the hand or so. And it fluttered, and yet it cannot pump blood as required by the body. So it was a kind of stopping the heart, so to say, but in a flutter manner. And they found, and they have to come after 2 minutes and wake him up, so to say, from out of the state, as he requested. So, and that was one. And he didn't tell exactly how he did it, probably through some pranayama or some meditation technique, whatever it is. He was also able to change the temperature between two fingers. I don't remember which one. And he can put a sensor in one finger and the next finger, and he can make temperature in one finger go up, other finger go down, 2 degrees each way, plus 2 and minus 2 from normal temperature. That is even more stranger because the blood flow indicates the amount of temperature that you might have. And is he changing the blood flow in each finger in a different direction so that this temperature differential can be detected? These are questions that were raised in that study. Of course, not answered completely. But what Elmer did was the following. She thought, if a yogi can do that, can we do it? Non-yogis, those who are not practicing yoga intensively, and is it possible by through some methods of doing it? And they came upon a simple way to start one of the simple procedures called temperature feedback. And all it needs is, because it's a disorder called Raynaud's disease, where especially in the cold weather, people feel cold during winter time and very painfully cold in the extremities, especially fingers and toes. So they were looking at this problem, and they thought, okay, is it possible for them to increase the temperature and reduce the pain sensation due to cold? Because they know that blood flow to the extremities was not enough in these cases, in Raynaud's disease. So what they did was, they had a little thermometer specially designed, a little one about this size, a few inches long, maybe 3-4 inches, as big as a finger. And they will tap it onto a finger, middle finger, let us say. Just put a tape, and then let us see. Relax for a short time, and temperature shows some temperature, body temperature, the periphery. And tell them, okay, now raise the temperature. Now, it is very difficult simply say, raise the temperature. How do I raise it? Okay, now they had some phrases they were using. This has a history in the West. Way back in 1930s, a person by name Schultz. Are you writing down the name, Manasa? Schultz. Look it up, you'll find. He came with relaxation response and relaxation of the body through autogenic phrases, he called it. Autogenic training, he called it, in the 1930s in Germany. And similarly, they said they put out a set of phrases which will let the person go through deep relaxation. It's a question of deep relaxation that they were aiming at, which will relax so that autonomic nervous system kind of lets loose a little bit and let go and take normal course, in the sense more blood will flow to the extremities and they will feel warmth in the extremities and not biting cold. And they generated a set of, it's very simple. All you read, think of you're sitting in a warm day in a beach, a nice breeze is blowing, and you are relaxing, and your fingers and toes are feeling relaxed, and your calf muscles feeling relaxed, your thighs are feeling relaxed. So like that, you slowly scan the whole body and let each body go through, and you tell the body parts to relax. And lo and behold, there is an increase in blood flow, and thus bring up increased temperature. So this is the biofeedback system for a clinical use. They started basically looking at some of the autonomic control which are not autonomic in the body. Actually, I go to the other extreme, say there is nothing autonomic in the body. It goes on autonomic because we are not able to intervene. If we can intervene properly, get the information properly, then we can control. It could be blood sugar, it could be heart rate, it can be a function of a liver, it can be anything else. But some of them were very difficult to give an ongoing feedback of the parameters of interest. Okay. So that's what they did. And they started on doing other things like neurofeedback, that is from the brain. Yeah, actually, in that book, Model Methods, there's a chapter on that I talk about. The brain feedback, neuromuscular feedback for any neurological function, dysfunction, or the peripheral nervous system. So they tried several other feedback systems. And one thing, great thing he did in McGreen was the following. He is against all these people who want to make quick money doing something like biofeedback. So in his laboratory, he was first developed these EEG, ECG, and temperature feedback systems. So what he did was, there was an electronic person in his lab, engineer, who put together these things, and they got all the wiring diagrams for all this. And then he made 200 copies and sent to 200 universities around the world, with the hope that nobody will take, copyright and start making money out of this. He didn't want to make money. He said this is not the right way to go, what we are doing in the West. So this knowledge must be available to anybody who wants to use it and not pay money for that. So he sent about 200 different laboratories around the world. And for some reason, I don't know how he got it, he sent to us one copy of what they were doing with the electronic. It was simple, so not a problem. So application was important aspect. Anyway, so what, meanwhile, things are happening in Chennai, Madras. And that's where I got involved. Another name to ask and then think about is Dr. B. Ramamurthy. I had the pleasure of working with him over the years. He was the head of a neurological department, neurology, neurosurgery department in General Hospital. This was, I call it BA. The times were BA. What is BA? Before Apollo. Because that is a turning point. Apollo is a turning point in the medical services in India, I think. And that is, the best doctors were working in government hospitals. So you can go there. People like Dr. B. Ramamurthy, he was the father of neurosurgery in India. You can meet him, you can talk to him, you can look at him, you can walk to his, when he was doing brain surgery. And he found out there's a biomedical laboratory and electronics. There was only myself. So he called me to his office and I went there. I learned a lot of things from him. And one was, the first time I met him, Dr. B. Ramamurthy said, Srinivasan, look at his hands, because he didn't have a broken finger. Look at his beautiful, beautiful hands, like a sculptured hand. He is a great, neurosurgeon. This hand has done everything it can do. Now you have to help me with instrumentation to improve the performance of this. Will you do that? I said, sir, I will try. He was much elder to me and also head of the department in a great hospital. And he said, okay. And then it went on, our relationship. We were doing some projects together. And one day he called me and said, you know what? There are two boys from Andhra upstairs in the clinic, in inpatient department. I've talked to the nurse. She's expecting you. Now they have epilepsy, and I have no means of. I don't know what it is. It is not anything biological. The brain, everything is okay, but they are getting epilepsy. You go and advise. You talk about epilepsy all the time. I've done it before, unfortunately, in his presence. He said, okay, go and take care of them. Those two beds are your bed. I said, what am I supposed to do? He said, don't ask me questions. Go up and talk to the nurse. So I went to the nurse and asked her what it was. And she said same thing. I looked at the sheets, their report sheets, the same. No costs assigned, but they had epilepsy 3-4 times a day. Anyway, that was one. So keep in mind, we'll come back to it later on. Soon after that, he called me. He said, look, we have to do something. He was interested. He knew quite a bit of Vedic wisdom. He said, Srinivasan, we have to look at meditation. Look at the EEG correlates, what EEG does, how it changes during meditation. Secondly, I want you to bring that electrical activity of the brain from a long-term meditator, a meditating subject's brain waves, and feed it to a non-meditator so that he can calm down, his EEG can be normal, or his, like for example, epilepsy fits can be suppressed, etc., etc. Can you do that? I said, sir, I'll try. So we went to, there was one or two people coming to him with long-time meditation. We took their brain waves. We didn't record it. We directly put it from there to the patients I was mentioning earlier, or to normal people. We started with normal people, our own students. And it looked like it didn't have any effects. Let me repeat, it's very important. The brain wave of an experienced meditator has certain characteristics. You can see that the person is meditating. We'll come to it in a minute, what exactly it is. Then this is fed to a non-meditating novice subject who may or may not have problems in the brain. Now, this meditative EEG does not correct anything in the other person. It doesn't bring back to normal the other person's EEG. That is a revelation. What do we do? Then we started looking at why not take one's own brainwave and feed it back, make it a biofeedback system, and try to correct my own brain dysfunction. In other words, my brain has some dysfunction as seen in EEG, electroencephalogram, brain waves, and that is to be corrected. And what he did was we take it, we filter, and we take the best, what we thought is a meditating subject is need to have, that is alpha waves. The alpha waves are given to a filament lamp. The filament lamp intensity will go up and down along as my alpha waves change in intensity. Okay, did you get me? Is it clear? Manasa, is it clear? Manasa, is it clear?
No, sir. Can you just repeat that, sir?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me say I'm the subject. I take the EEG. My EEG is taken. And we know that during meditation, alpha waves must increase at the expense of other waves. And so I take that, I filter out the rest of it, I keep only the alpha waves, and that triggers the lamp in front of my visual area. That is in front of my eyes, my closed eyes. And the intensity of the variations will follow the intensity of my alpha waves. Now, is that clear now? Somewhat? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so the intensity of this light is dependent on my own alpha wave production in the brain. If you want to increase it, you change the phase, that is the time delay of this visual pulse. Okay, if you want to increase it, if you keep on, there's a dial there which will tell you, keep on changing the phase, that is the time delay of this. And at one point, you'll see that alpha waves really gives a positive feedback. In other words, it starts increasing, go by 100, 200% more suddenly. So if you hit the right point. So this is what we did. We did, in other words, this is a biofeedback system of my own brainwave back to me of the type I want, which will improve my meditative status. Okay, that's what we did. And we called it non-volitional EEG biofeedback. You think West don't have biases? I just couldn't publish this paper because the editor said he will not publish it. You're thinking about biases in scientific publishing? Yeah, there's a lot of it there back there. If I'd done the same thing in Australia or New Zealand or in Austria, it would have been published. Anyway, that's a different thing. And this non-volitional feedback, we worked on it over many, many years. with at least 2 PhDs and a half dozen masters looking at various aspects of it, how the pathways inside the brain could be detected, etc. And this improves certain functions. Okay, now let me come to, so that was the biofeedback we were doing. So this is different from the biofeedback that Elma Green was doing, which was you have to sit, you have to look at the temperature or your EEG or some aspect, and through phrases you increase that particular value you want to improve upon. Whereas ours is you do not have to do all that. You do not have an intellectual capacity to do that. Young children can be taken care of. Old people can be taken care of. And this is, we call it non-volitional. In other words, my will is not necessary in involvement of increasing the positive response that we could get. So that's what we tried on those two boys who seemed to improve. Remember, I talked about two boys and the two beds given to me in the general hospital. So that was. And later on, the whole thing has changed slightly, and wonderful things happen in the West. And what they did was what they call neurofeedback. They talked about temperature feedback and peripheral nervous system feedback can be done. And now it is neuro. There is a condition called ADD, ADHD. ADD stands for attention deficit disorder. The other one is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. In other words, these people are mostly boys and girls, young people below 10, around 10, 12. They get to be hyperactivity in a school environment. And that is very difficult, as you know. If you ever visited schools at that level in America, you know how school should not be conducted. It is simply impossible because there are at least one or two boys and girls. One boy was there every year. I used to go to a school to teach them something. And this boy will disrupt the entire class because he ADHD, his hyperactivity, he throws things on people and then other children, they pull their books and then the shirt, he tries to tear off the shirt and this and that, everything happens. The teacher, of course, can't say anything because the police will come immediately trying to arrest the teacher. So she has to sit back and smile. John, please don't do it. John, please don't do it. Of course, John does it because there is a reason for it. The reason is as follows, very interesting. Now, they found out clinically, if you give them brain stimulants as a drug, they calm down. Note this anomaly. These hyperactivity children, when they give them brain stimulant, they calm down. Now, this is really, you can't explain this at all normally. Anyway, they later on found out what is happening is these boys are putting up, when you're sitting and listening to me or myself talking, I'm get my eyes open, I'm looking, I'm talking. Normally, there'll be what are called beta waves, which is a little higher in frequency compared to alpha. We saw that alpha is related to depth of meditation. You can say, okay, a lot of alpha means maybe the person is sitting quietly, closing eyes, and meditating. And higher betas will imply that he's opening his mouth, he's interacting with people around. He is, calm and collected at the same time interacting, talking, getting information, writing down something, etc. So that is beta waves. Okay? These children have more alpha than beta, even when they are in the classroom or any activity. In other words, they are more like meditating, trying to learn and interact with children, which is not compatible, right? So what they have to do, they have to jump up and down. They don't know what's happening, but in the process, they try to increase beta by being active, overactive. The beta comes up a little bit, and they're able to learn. So it is again contraindicative of learning and being in a classroom. So that is why a stimulant in the brain calms them down, because they don't have enough alpha. They have not enough beta, but more alpha. Yeah. I hope it's not confusing. Only two waveforms we're talking about. So the alpha is related to meditation. We don't want it in a school environment while they're learning. Beta is related to activity, interaction, learning procedures, which they don't have sufficient. Somebody came up with, okay, let's have a feedback for this system. They have to learn. In other words, what do? They wire the person up. I work with a couple of youngsters, about 12-year-old boys, both of them, in a clinical psychologist's office in US, and put them through neurobiofeedback system. This is what we do. The boy comes in, sits in the chair, and he is hitting all over, wanting to hit me, shake hands with me, how are you, this, that. He's active all the time. Hey, calm down, let me put a cap on top of you and put all this thing, whatever it is, and then connect it to the computer. And he looks at the brain wave on the screen. Now tell them, look at the brain wave and see that what he sees is really his alpha waves, which is very big, large, which he has to suppress small amount, and his beta waves, which he doesn't see at all, is small in content. Now, the design of the instrument is such that beta waves is driving a helicopter, image of a helicopter. So when he looks on the screen, he sees this his own alpha. I don't tell him alpha. See, all this like a sea, in a wave in the sea, right? You see the waves in the sea? Yeah, I see. Don't keep on repeating. I see that, he said. Okay. You know what? You want to be a helicopter pilot today? Yeah, there is a helicopter under the sea, under the water in the sea. I want you to bring it up. You're kidding. No. I'm telling you, there is a helicopter under the water. You bring it up and bring down the waves, all that, and bring up this helicopter. When it comes out of the sea, you'll see it is flying as a helicopter. So to interest him in this, I changed some parameters of the computer so that the big waves kindly go down a little bit, and this helicopter, which is driven by his beta waves, suddenly comes up and goes down. One more time. Suddenly it comes up, goes down. John, you saw the helicopter? Yeah, I saw the helicopter. What the heck is that? It is under the water. Now you have to bring it up, keep it up for 5 seconds. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, up to 5. Okay? You bring it up. You are doing it. I'm not doing it. You bring it up, keep it there for 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, let's see what happens. Okay? So I say that I give him 2 or 3 trials, and I take my hands off the instrument, everything going on its own as designed, and suddenly he sees the helicopter. He can maintain it for 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Next time, 3 or 4 seconds. And then 5 seconds. Okay. Any questions?
No, sir.
So what he does is, what he has done is, he has basically increased the beta waves which are required in a classroom and decreased the alpha waves. And in about half a dozen, about 6 sittings, he can do it in no time. I tell you, I was shocked. I was so pleasantly surprised that he can do it. It's simply, he'll come and say, hey, what do you have for me? Oh, you have to have up for 1 minute. Okay, John, can you do it? Yeah, I can do it. I can do 2 minutes. Okay, come on, let's put on that. Okay. And he will do it. So they learn how to change the brain waves. I tell them, then we instruct them, and it's the teachers and their parents, that look, when he has a problem, he can identify, let him do what he wants, let him sit quietly, and he goes through the same thing that he has done in the clinic, where he can increase the betas and decrease the alphas. Then he can do the learning, sitting in a chair, and he doesn't have drugs, he doesn't have to run around, and he'll be fine. And over the period of time, 6 months or so, that becomes normal to the brain to act that way. This is what is, the brain is all the time learning. Even today for me, I'm only past 80, who the heck cares? I can learn. My brain can learn. Don't believe anybody else. I know that white coat people tell, no, you're dead, sir. You're past 80. You can't even be alive. No, don't worry about their opinion. They're all borrowed from the West, which doesn't even look at these things. Okay, so this is neurofeedback for ADHD. Very powerful technique. A technique which gives the power to the people to improve their brain function. Going back, let me go back several steps and tell, I think all of us can control our bladder, right? Urination. We can control, right? How did you come to do that? You didn't know anything about bladder. You don't know anything about soiling the clothes or the carpet or your floor underneath. But if you did it after 1.5 years in India, you will be beaten up by somebody. So the child learns how to control. The child doesn't know anything about physiology, nothing about the body functions, yet it controls its urination. I think it is fantastic that the child can do it. So that is the biofeedback systems. And now we have many of them clinically available. We made a few of these biofeedback systems and gave it away and sold to several institutions around the country. And that's the end of it as far as India is concerned, because a very wise medical doctor, I used to know all the medical top professionals since we had projects with them in the general hospital, and the wise medical professor, he mentioned to me, Srinivasan, we make money in diagnostics, not in therapy. So give me diagnostic equipment. I said, great. You don't want therapy to your patient, you want only diagnosis. Okay, I'll do that. So that's the last time I met him. So anyway, this is biofeedback system. As I said, we called it non-volitional EEG biofeedback system we had. And the brain and the body learns anything that you give them over and over again. And it will be able to maintain it as a normal course. That's why they say now, when a patient is lying on the table and he was about to be cut open for a surgery, major surgery, the doctor used to say, this fellow is not going to be alive. Why we are doing this? Okay, let's just try our best. I don't know. I don't think he will come through this operation because we've already gone through this. It's not going to help him. You're not supposed to say that because he's unconsciously aware of what's happening. And you're giving him cue, don't come back, go back, bye, go away. So brain is sensitive to a lot of things. So we should not give even a negative cue and keep on doing it. I'm no good. So this will not happen. Oh no, this is going to be terrible. Oh, this is going to affect me negative. No negative cues. You want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, fine. Okay. That way, you first and then give positive cues. Same with children. I hope I can say bringing up children is a challenge, as all of us know. And positive cues always helps. And that's what we need to do. And there is one more last item I tell. There's a beautiful book by Patricia Norris, Elma Green's daughter. Elma Green, by the way, passed away at the age of 100 about 4 or 5 years ago. In the Yoga Sudha journal, which I used to write regularly 5 years ago, there's a little note on him. When he passed away, give a little background of his work, including biofeedback, of course. And then a boy came to his daughter with a serious problem, 3 to 6 months to live, brain cancer, didn't know what to do. And they came and said, can you do something? And they said, okay, let's try biofeedback. And Pat, his daughter, picked up the case and asked the boy, what do you want to be when you grow up? The boy knows he's going to be only 6 months. When I grow up, I want to be a fighter pilot. Okay, you're going to be a fighter pilot today, not when you grow up. Okay, so you are the fighter pilot. Your white blood cells are the jets in which you are sitting, and the cancer cells in your brain or the enemy planes that you have to shoot down. Okay, each one of them, you have to go there, search and shoot each one of them. Do this. And sure enough, after 3 years, they sat together and wrote a book on this. It was a fantastic turnaround based on her dedicated work to save this child who was hardly 10 or 12 at that time. And that came out to be a very positive response. And he was able to, I don't know if he's alive now, about 15 years ago, but the crisis was averted at that time. So, okay, with this, I will stop here. And if you have any questions, please do let me know. Thank you for
Yes, sir. Wonderful talk. Very technical talk. You explained it in a very simple manner using the terms like urination and other things. Swami Rama's episode. Swami Rama's episode.
if you're praising me, talk louder. I can't hear. If you're not
Yes, sir. Oh, anybody has any question, please ask Dr. T.M.Srinivasan.
Yes, sir. Sir, I am Dr. B. Gopal Singh.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your wonderful talk. Actually, based upon the ideas that you have said now, now economics has been redesigned as what is called as neuroeconomics. Neuroeconomics. The demand for a particular commodity does not mainly depend upon the price of that product, but the neurological responses from the body. On that basis, we are redesigning economics. That I wanted to just put forward. That's all, sir. It's neuroeconomics, a new branch of economics.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I have got one question.
Yeah.
See, question is, biofeedback is only for the body? What is biofeedback? Direct definition.
What is biofeedback? What is the last one?
Biofeedback
He's
means it's
asking
only
for the
from the human
definition of
body.
biofeedback.
Yes,
Definition of biofeedback.
I think yes, sir.
Biofeedback is only for the body, or biofeedback comes from any other body?
Any other
one?
Because see, the example I gave, feeding EEG from advanced yogi to a non-yogi doesn't seem to work. I can't say we have done everything to eliminate it, but in the first blush, it looks like it is not working. First feedback, your brain, given as a feedback to me, may not have any effect. Whereas my own brain function, augmented in a certain way, changed in a certain way, can increase or improve my function. That's what it is. Because, if you look at epilepsy, there's a whole lot of things happening in epilepsy. Because in childhood epilepsy, there's no reason, like those two beds I was talking about, there's no reason to believe that every epilepsy has some physiological problem in the brain. No. Many of them do not. It may be stress related.
Okay.
To put them through medication which lasts for a lifetime is ridiculous and uncalled for and unethical from the medical professional. They do it all the time. We should be careful because we are the people who are affected. They want to push their medication. Yes, they want to push medication, not only here, all over the world.
Okay.
Look at the mess they've created with virus. Anyway, so in those cases where clearly there is no biological reason, or there is no tumor, there is no accident, then we can take care of this through biofeedback.
Okay.
Sir, my question is, you tell about alpha, beta, delta. Is anyone this one that alpha, that gamma is there? You tell about the gamma, sir.
Yes, yes, I didn't mention anything more because this may be new to people. Because at those days, in 1970s, we are only looking at alphas and not gammas. Okay. Now the gammas have come later on because also because EEG machines have become more and more sophisticated. Now, for example, when we are working, alpha, beta, up to maybe 25, 30 hertz was the maximum. Now gamma goes a little beyond up to about 40 hertz. And they think that gamma, not only gamma, but also coherence between different parts of the brain. In other words, left and right, let's say these 2 points underneath. Those neurons are emitting in a coherent way. In other words, they go up and down, exactly same time. And that is very important. So it is global, kind of, it is not localized, but the whole of global, most of the brain seem to function in unison, going up and down. In gamma, which is little higher frequency than alpha and beta. And that's what they're looking for, and they're getting it. Actually, my student, A.G. Ramakrishnan, who is just retired as a professor at the Indian Institute of Science, he came out with a paper last week or so, where he's looking at coherence between different parts of the brain in advanced meditators. And that is a signature now they're thinking of saying that they are meditating. The level of depth of meditation can be probably predicted from this. I'm saying
Can
probably.
we generate it from this one, sir? Anuloma, Viloma, Pranayama, that the left and the right brain is activated. Can we generate this one gamma like that?
I do not know. I don't think there is a answer to the question. I think we have to go take up and do it. I don't know anybody to answer. Yes, you can do a lot of things with your brain, with pranayama. I'll tell you. May I ask you a personal question? How old are you? How old are you?
Okay, so a lot of research has to conduct.
Okay, don't worry. You're older than 60, let us say. Okay. Now, anybody older than 50 or 60, or anybody for that matter, must have improved blood flow to the brain. There is no simpler way than holding the breath for 30 seconds. There is no simpler way of increasing blood flow to the brain. If you want to increase blood flow to the brain, hold your breath for 30 seconds and then come back normal breathing. This has a profound effect that people don't follow. Whereas I follow this, and I want every 60-year-old and above to follow this because there is memory. Memory is dependent on blood flow, headache, blood flow, or some improper function of the body, internal organs, blood flow. Everything is concerned blood flow. Your heart attack, if I get a heart attack, the pain is because of lack of blood flow. And there are simple asanas which can be done. I have covered it this is well known. But this is so simple that you hold the breath for 30 seconds, your blood flow to the brain will improve. This is beyond any question. Scientifically proven over and over again by different groups of people around the world. So please do that for brain health.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear.
Yes, sir, please. Yes, sir, please.
Sir, you said that holding the breath for 30 seconds. How many
Yep.
times in a day, sir?
You do it 3 times a day along with pranayama. If you do pranayama, I'm sorry, along with your Sandhya Vandanam.
Okay.
2-3 times in the morning, 3 times holding the breath, 30 seconds in the afternoon, evening.
Thank you.
Twice a day is enough. Even.
Thank you, sir.
That's my guess. We have not done any research on this, but we know that holding a breath does improve.
Thank you so much, Mr. Srinivasan, for a very enlightening talk.
Thank you.
Now, anybody else, or shall I ask Dr. Pai to say his words? Okay.
Sir, I have one small thing
Yeah, please.
to ask, sir. Okay. TMS, sir, no, I really like the way you said how nothing is autonomic in the body, actually. It was very thought-provoking that way. And, in today's world where we are like trapped between, say, the unknown interior and the threatening exterior world, I think we generally opt for something which is familiar in the outer surface. But my question, I have two questions actually. One is when it comes to biofeedback, say, like the Pavlov's dog, which is the classical reflex conditioning that we know of, which involves the primitive aspects of an organism. Does the biofeedback work, or is it efficient only when there is a reward mechanism involved? Okay, that is one aspect. And you were just talking about the blood flow to the brain. Is it okay? This is the second part of the question. So is it safe for more than 60 or 70-year person to do the kumbhaka or holding of the breath if there is a heart condition involved?
Okay, first question, what is the reward?
Reward mechanism. Yes.
Reward, see, being healthy is a reward. Whatever you want to do, you want to improve your health or maintain status quo of good health. So that is the reward. For example, in a disease condition like Raynaud's disease, there's a pain in the fingers and toes because of the cold, numbness, and tingling sensation because of the blood flow being a problem. And that is the reward. If it goes away, that's a reward. Now it is, Manas, it is so easy to tell you, you know what? Come to my age, you'll find out what is reward. Reward is being normal is reward. I don't want to do anything fantastic. Am I normal? I'm getting up properly. All my limbs are working in the morning. I'm so happy.
So reaching there itself is a reward, sir.
That itself is reward. Having a reasonable life is reward.
Absolutely.
And I was telling you actually in Mysore, in JSS, was it years back, I was giving a talk and I told them, the students were there and I told something, and the one boy comes rushing in after the talk and says, sir, very interesting, sir. One statement I really liked. I said, what? Sir, you said you want to die healthy? I said, yeah, I want to die healthy. That's a reward to be. So the second question, can people with heart problems can do kumbhaka? You got to be careful. But don't worry about it, because I think heart itself is a little bit more intelligent than the brain. What we should do is train it. Start with 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20, increase it 20, and then 30. So I don't think, or if you do it carefully, nothing is going to happen. If I don't do, I'll tell you my problem. If I don't do kumbhaka, I do it about 6 times in the morning. That's all I do, maybe 10 times in the morning. And I do pretty long. Then my heart gives me problem. It goes into flutter. Sometimes it goes suddenly fast, suddenly slow. I don't know. It is like driving in India. Suddenly the roads are clear, you drive fast, and suddenly it is not clear, you slow down. The heart does the same thing. But one has to train oneself for that. So you got to be a little careful and do it slowly, step by step. That's what I will say.
Okay, now I request Dr. Pai to speak.
Hello.
Yeah, sir, please.
Yeah. Hello. Good evening to everyone. Ellarigu namaskara. See, today's subject, biofeedback by Dr. T.M.Srinivasan, very, very interesting and very, very useful. I know him from a long time. He is also a good friend of mine, and we have written a book, as he already told, on energy medicine. What I find is these kind of talks will helpful to improve our own health. That is one of the reasons I want him to come again here, Mysore, and personally we can have like a workshop through Vijay Foundation. So once again, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bhai. Now I request Srimati Mamta Shastri to propose a vote of thanks. Before that, one announcement is there. Next week, Dr. Murli sir will be speaking on Adiguru Shankaracharya. The correct title of the topic will be sent to you soon. And before closing, I wanted to say only one word, that is today's your statement, nothing is autonomic, is a revolutionary statement, I think. Anybody else has made earlier, I don't know. So with this remark, closing remark, I will ask Dr. Srimati Mamta Shastri to propose the vote of thanks.
ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಇಂದಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಯೋ ಫೀಡ್ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಎಂಬ ವಿಷಯದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನು ನೀಡಿದಂತಹ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಟಿ.ಎಂ. ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸನ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ವಿಜಯ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ ಮೈಸೂರು ಯೋಗ ಒಕ್ಕೂಟ ಹಾಗೂ ಸಂಪ್ರದಾಯ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಇವರೆಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ವಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಅರ್ಪಿಸುತ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ನಮ್ಮನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರೋತ್ಸಾಹಿಸಿದಂತಹ ವಿಜಯ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ ಚೇರ್ಮನ್ರು, VFW ನ ಸಂಸ್ಥಾಪಕರಾದ BR ಪೈ ಅವರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ವಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನ ಅರ್ಪಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಶ್ರಾವ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದಂತಹ ಶ್ರೀಮತಿ ಸುಮಾ ಅವರಿಗೂ, ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಕೋರಿದ ಶ್ರೀಮತಿ ಅರುಣಾ ಅವರಿಗೂ, ಹಾಗೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಕರನ್ನು ಪರಿಚಯಿಸಿದ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಜ್ಞಾನೇಶ್ವರ್ ಅವರಿಗೂ, ಮತ್ತು ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಬಹಳ ಸರಳವಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನಿರೂಪಣೆಯನ್ನು ನೀಡಿದ ವೆಂಕಟೇಶನ್ ಸರ್ ಹಾಗೂ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿದ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನನ್ನ ವಂದನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಅರ್ಪಿಸುತ್ತಾ ವಂದನಾರ್ಪಣೆಯನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸುತ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ಓಕೆ, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಆಲ್. ಮುಂದಿನ ವಾರ ಇದೇ ಸಮಯಕ್ಕೆ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಭೇಟಿಯಾಗೋಣ. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಮುರಳಿ ಸರ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಶಂಕರಾಚಾರ್ಯರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಟು ಹಿಮ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.